Now we move to the third part in chapter 7 Mathematics of Finance, which is 7.3 Compound Interest, denoted by capital letter I. Compound interest, denoted by capital letter I. What is compound interest? A common procedure for computing interest is by compounding interest. Under this procedure, the interest is reinvested. The interest earned each period is added to the principal for the purpose of computing interest for the next period. The amount of interest computed using this procedure is called the compound interest. It is not the same as simple interest rate that we had learned in lecture 1, where the formula for simple interest rate is capital letter R equals to P times R times T. Because in simple interest rate, interest that we gain is fixed for each consecutive year. Meanwhile, for compound interest, the interest that we gain will be more than the previous one. So it is not the same. From the formula here, we can see that the simple interest rate formula is this one. And the compound interest formula is I equals to S minus P. So this is how we get compound interest. Next, let's look at about compound amount, which denoted by capital letter S. If you remember, in lecture 1, we have simple interest. Simple interest denoted by capital letter I. And we also have simple amount denoted by capital letter S. It is the same goes for compound. In compound, we have compound interest denoted by capital letter I, and we also have compound amount, which is denoted by capital letter S. Now, let's look at the definition of the compound amount. The compound amount of future value, or also known as the accumulated value, is the final sum at the end of the period. The accumulated value for the nth period may be expressed as, so the formula for compound amount is Sn equals to P is our principal, 1 plus I to the power of n. So this is the formula for compound amount. Here we have Sn. Sn is equals to the accumulated value at the end of period. P is the original principal or the present value. I is the interest rate. N is equals to the number of compounding period, which is N equals to T times M. J is equals to the nominal rate. M is the number of compounding period in 1 year. T is equals to time or term in year. And here we have the adjusted period. M is the number of times the interest is calculated per annum, which is per year. If the question state daily, means that it gives you the time in days, so your M is equals to 360 times per annum. If the question state that compounded weekly, then your M will be equals to 52 times per annum. And if the question state the interest compounded monthly, M is equals to 12 times per annum. Since 1 year we have 12 months. So compounded monthly, it means that 12 times per annum. Quarterly, your M will be equals to 4 times per annum. Semi-annually, your M will be equals to 2 times per annum. So this is the indicator for the compounding period that will be given in your question. Let's look at this example for better understanding. Okay? Assume that we have deposited RM8,000 in a credit union, which pays interest of 8% per year compounded quarterly. Assume that we want to determine the interest and the amount of money we will earn on deposit at the end of 1 year, if all interest is left in the savings account. First of all, as usual, let's look at the information that we have. Firstly, we have the amount of we deposit, which is 8,000 ringgit. Therefore, this will be our P equals to 8,000 ringgit. The next one is we have interest of 8% per year. 8% is our nominal rate, which is J equals to 0.08. This is our nominal rate. The next information that we have is compounded quarterly, which means that here our M is equals to 4. Means that the rate will work for you 4 times in 1 year, which means it will give you some amount of money every time he do his work. Please understand that you only put the money once, then you let the rate do the rest. Now, we assume that we want to determine the interest and the amount of money after 1 year, in a simple word. Okay, so we need to find our R and we need to find our S, because amount of money at the end of 1 year. I would like to draw your attention towards this sentence. If all interest is left in the savings account, which means that after you deposit RM8,000, you did nothing to your account. You never add some amount of money. You never withdraw your money for 1 year. Okay, that's what it means by the all interest is left in the savings account. Next, let's look at the timeline, where the timeline shows how the compound interest is computed. First of all, the value of P, 8,000 ringgit, we will put on 0, which is today, since this is our P. And then the timeline we have is only 1 year, because of the question asked for 1 year only. Here we have 1 year. The next part is about J. Since our J is 8% per year, that's why we have our loop from 0 to 1 year, which portrays the nominal rate is J equals to 8%, 0.08. The next word is about compounded quarterly, which means that we will have another loop which portrays compounded quarterly, and the loop is here. From 0 to first quarter to second quarter to third quarter to fourth quarter, which portrays our M is equals to 4, which means that in 1 year, the interest will be reinvested 4 times, and it will give you some amount of money. From J and M, we will get our I. This is our I. How to get I? I is equals to J over M. So, I is equals to 0.08 over 4. And we will get I is equals to 0.02. That's why here from 0 to first quarter, our I is equals to 2%. From first quarter to second quarter, our I is 2%. Second quarter to third quarter, again 2%. Third quarter to fourth quarter, it is also I equals to 2%. So here, you can differentiate between J and I, where J is the nominal rate, the loop from 0 to 1 year. Meanwhile, your I is the one who works for you 4 times in this example. The first time, it will give you 2% from the principal, and then it will be reinvested in order to calculate to the next quarter, and it will be continued until the fourth quarter. As a conclusion, the blue loop is the nominal rate, whereas the green loop here is the interest rate I. Let's do some calculation here. So, in first quarter, we have just now I is equals to 0.02, and then our P is 8,000 ringgit. So, the interest that we earn in the first quarter will be calculated such that I is equals to 0.02 times 8,000, and we will get I is equals to RM 160 in the first quarter. That's why we did not add interest in first quarter. As a total, for the first quarter, our value of money in the account in first quarter will be 8,000 plus 160. We will get RM 8,160 ringgit. This is the value in the account for first quarter, not first year. Okay, for the first quarter. And then for the second quarter, we have I is 0.02. How about P? P, in order to calculate the second quarter, we need to use 8,160 because the interest that we get in the first quarter will be reinvested together with the value of principal that we deposit in the account. So our P here will be 8,160 ringgit. So interest that we get in the second quarter will be 0.02 times with 8,160 ringgit. It will become RM 163 ringgit and 20 cents. So this is the interest that you get in the second quarter. If you can see the difference between the first quarter, the interest is just 160 ringgit. In the second quarter, the interest increased to 163 ringgit and 20 cents. It is not the same as simple interest rate, where the interest is fixed for each year in the given period. Let's calculate the amount that you get in the second quarter. So the amount will be 8,160 plus the value of interest is 163 ringgit and 20 cents will be equals to RM 8,323 ringgit and 20 cents. So this will be the amount that you get in the second quarter. For S2, we use our P is 8,160. You cannot use 8,000 because 8,000 is already calculated earlier. So, in order to get the amount of money in the second quarter, we need to use the new P, which is this one. This is our new P. Let's do the same for the third quarter, where we have I is also 0.02. P is the one that we get in the second quarter. The amount of money in the second quarter is 8,323 ringgit and 20 cents. Let's calculate the interest in third quarter that we will get. So 0.02 times 8,323 and 20 cents. Press your calculator, you will get the interest in third quarter will be 166 ringgit and 46 cents. If you notice, the interest will be more than the previous quarter. Okay? Let's do the same. We need to find the amount of money in the third quarter. Our P for third quarter is 8,323 ringgit and 20 cents plus the interest is 166 and 46 cents. Just press your calculator. The amount of money that you have in your account for third quarter will be 8,489 ringgit and 66 cents. So this is the amount of money in third quarter. Let's proceed final quarter. Here, I is 0.02. P is equals to 8,489 ringgit and 66 cents. The interest in the fourth quarter will be equals to 0.02 times with 8,489 ringgit and 66 cents. The interest that you will get in fourth quarter will be equals to RM 169 ringgit and 79 cents. This is the interest in fourth quarter. Let's find the amount of money in the fourth quarter. So it will become 8,489 ringgit 66 cents plus with 169 ringgit and 79 cents. Total up, it will become RM 8,659 ringgit and 46 cents. This will be the amount of money that you have up until the fourth quarter. In other words, in total, your account will have the amount of money 8,659 ringgit and 46 cents after 1 year, together with the interest. Okay? For this example, let's do if we change the question into simple interest rate, which means that we are going to use the formula I equals to PRT. So we assume that if this example is for simple interest rate, okay, therefore we have the value of I will be equals to P is 8,000, our R is 0.08, and then our T is 1 year. You press your calculator and you will get the total interest that you will get in 1 year is RM 640 ringgit. This is the interest if the question is for simple interest rate. But in this example, it is compound interest, which means that let's look at the interest that we earn for this example. we have the formula S equals to P plus I. So in order to get the value of I, for this example, we will have I is equals to S minus P. Therefore, I is equals to, our S is the final amount in the fourth quarter, which is 8,659 ringgit and 46 cents, S minus with P. Our P is 8,000 ringgit. You press your calculator and you will get the compound interest in total will be equals to RM 659 ringgit and 46 cents. So this is the interest that you get for compound interest. As you can see here, this is the compound interest and this is the simple interest. The difference between the compound interest and the simple interest is 19 ringgit and 46 cents, which means that the accumulated value for compound interest is greater than the simple interest. Next, let's do some examples. Example 7. Suppose that 1,000 ringgit is invested in a saving bank, which earns interest at rate of 8% per year, compounded annually. If all interest is left in an account, what will the account balance be after 10 years? First of all, let's look at the timeline that we have. So this will be our timeline, where here we have 0, which is present, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Why 10 years? Because the question states 10 years. So here we have 10 years timeline. And then the first value here is 1,000 ringgit. 1,000 ringgit is the amount of money invested in a saving bank. So this will be our P equals to 1,000. The next one we have is the rate of 8% per year. Means that this is our J. J is equals to 0.08. And it is compounded annually, which means that this is our M will be equals to 1. The question asks us to find what will the account balance be after 10 years. Means that it wants us to find the value of S, amount of money in the future, which is after 10 years. First of all, here we have J. So J will be here from 0 to 1 year. So this will be our J equals to 0.08 and compounded annually. So I will be using the green color to show the compounding interest. So the compounding interest will be happen yearly. So it will be on the same loop. Okay? And then this loop will be continue until the last year, which is 10 years. Since the meaning of compounding or compound interest is the interest is reinvested for the next compounding period, that's why we are going to have the loop like this. It is not the same as simple interest, where we just have only one loop. For this, we will have more than one loop. Depends on the compounding interest that we have in the question. Okay, let's rewrite the information. First, we have our P is equals to 1,000. We have our I, which is equals to 0.08 over 1, since our M is equals to 1. And then our N is equals to T times M. So it will become 10 times 1, which is 10. The formula for compound amount is S n equals to P1 plus I n. So we are going to write as 10 is equals to P is 1000, 1 plus I is 0.08, n is 10. Then just press your calculator and you will get Rm 2,158 ringgit and 92 cents. So this is the answer for S10. Next, let's look at example 8 where we have find the amount for 500 ringgit deposited at 8% per year and compounded quarterly for 10 years. So here we have the value of 500 ringgit deposit, means that this is the value of P, 500. Then we have 8% per year. 8% is the value of J, 0.08, and compounded quarterly, which means our M is equals to 4. For 10 years. So this will be our T. T equals to 10. Please remember, T should be in years. Next, let's look at the timeline for this example. Here we have 0. For example, here 0. And then we have 1 year. We have 2 year, 3 year. Make it simple. The last one is the 10 year. Okay. Let's write the information on the timeline. Here we have P equals to 500. So we are going to write P here equals to 500. And then 8%, which means that 8% per year. The loop will be from 0 to 1 year. And we will write J equals to 0.08. And compounded quarterly for 10 years. The loop for the word compounded quarterly means that the rate will work for you 4 times in 1 year. So it will be like this. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. So this will be our M equals to 4. It will be the same for the next year, where the interest will be compounded 4 times. M equals to 4. And it will be the same to third year. M is also equals to 4. The process will be continued until the last year, which is 10 years. Okay. The next information that we have is I, where I is 0.08 over M is 4. Therefore, our I will be equals to 0.02. Which means that in the first quarter here, we will have 0.02. Second quarter here, we will have 0.02. Third quarter, 0.02. And the fourth quarter, 0.02. For the first year. It will be the same for the second year, third year, fourth, fifth, and so on until the 10th year. Okay? The next one is N. N is equals to T times M. So N will be equals to 10 times 4, which is 40 times. What it means by 40? 40 means that the interest will be compounded for 40 times. So the question asks, find the amount of 500. The keyword here is amount. So we need to find the compound amount. The formula for compound amount is Sn equals to P1 plus I to the power of N. So our N is 40. S40 will be equals to P is 500. 1 plus I is 0.02 and is 40. Press your calculator and you will get your S10 is RM 1104 and 2 cents. So this is your answer for S40. We move to example 9. We have Lingam invested 5,000 ringgit in a financial institution that gives a compound rate of 5% per year, compounded annually. Find the compound amount and the compound interest after 3 years. First of all, here we have the word compound, which means that this is compound interest, and also this is about compound amount. Let's see the information that we have. Here we have 5,000, the one that Lingam invested. Therefore, this will be our P, 5,000. And then we have 5% per year. This will be our J is equals to 0.05. Compounded annually shows that our M is equals to 1. Find the compound amount. The question asks you to find Sn. And the compound interest. It also wants you to find capital letter I. After 3 years, so this will be our T equals to 3. Next, we need to do the timeline. So this will be our timeline. Here we have 0, 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year. At 0, we will write P equals to 5,000. The next one, we have 5%. So the loop for 5% will be from 0 to 1 year. So this is the loop for J equals to 0.05. And then let's look at the next loop, which portrays compounded annually. That means compounded annually, the loop will be the same as the blue one, which is 0 to 1 year. Okay, and it will be continued for the next year and until the 3rd year. Let's write the rest of the information that we have. I will be equals to 0.05 will be divided by M is 1. Our N is equals to 3 times 1, which is equals to 3. So the formula for compound amount is Sn equals to P1 plus I to the power of N. Our N is 3, so S3 will be equals to P is 5,000. 1 plus 0.05 power of 3. Just press your calculator and you will get your compound amount at the 3rd year will be equals to 5,788 ringgit and 13 cents. This will be the answer for the first question, which is Sn. Next, we need to find I. The formula for compound interest is I equals to S minus P. Therefore, I is equals to S is 5,788 ringgit and 13 cents minus P is 5,000 ringgit. Just press your calculator and you will get your I is Rm 788 ringgit and 13 cents. So this is the answer for the second question. Next, let's look at the last example for this lecture, which is example 10. Ali invested in a saving account that pays interest at an annual of 10%, compounded quarterly. If his balance at the end of 3 years is 1,500 ringgit, what was his initial investment? For this question, we notice that there is the word compounded. Therefore, this will be the question asking for compound amount or compound interest. So it is not simple interest, okay, since we have the word compounded here. Let's see the information that we have. First, we have 10%. So this will be our J, which is equals to 0.1. Compounded quarterly means that this will be M equals to 4. The question said that if his balance at the end of 3 years, this will be the value of T, which is equals to 3, is 1,500 ringgit. So this will be our SN, is equals to 1,500 ringgit. The question asks you to find his initial investment, which means the question wants you to find the value of P. Now let's look at the timeline that we have. So this is the timeline. Here we have 0. This is 1 year. This is 2 year. And this is 3 year. Since the question asks for 3 years. Okay. For 10% compounded quarterly, our J is equals to 0.1. So the loop that we are going to have is from 0 to 1 year. So this will be J equals to 0.1. The next sentence is about compounded quarterly. Means that the loop that we are going to have is here, which is M equals to 4. So the green loop shows the interest is compounded quarterly, where M equals to 4. And it will be continue for the second year, compounded quarterly, up until third year, compounded quarterly. Okay, this is how our timeline looks like. Let's rewrite the information. The information that we have is P is the one that we need to find. Our SN is 1,500. Our I is become 0.1 over 4 since M is equals to 4. T is equals to 3. And our N is will be 3 times 4, which is 12. The formula for compound amount is Sn equals to P1 plus I to the power of N. Here we already have the value of Sn, which is 1,500 ringgit. The one that we need to find is P1 plus I is 0.1 over 4 to the power of N is 12. Rewrite the equation. We will get such that 1,500 will be divided by 1 plus 0.025. Everything to the power of 12. Just press your calculator and you will get your P is RM 1,115 ringgit and 33 cents. So this is the initial investment that Ali must do in order to get 1,500 ringgit at the end of 3 years.